everybody, welcome to our session on UDL and accessibility features on Chromebooks. We have two main learning targets for today. Number one, we will focus on providing a brief overview of Universal Design for Learning, UDL. This refresher hopes to remind you what UDL is, why it is important, and how we can begin to plan for UDL intentionally on a daily basis. And number two, we will provide an introduction to the accessibility features on Chromebooks to help make connection between UDL and current options available to all students for accessing information in different ways on their district-issued Chromebooks. Take a moment to think about this quote from Kate Novak, well-known author and educational consultant. Think about what it means to you and how this statement applies to you as an educator. Universal Design for Learning is a framework to improve and optimize teaching and learning for all people based on scientific insights into how humans learn. When we use UDL, we intentionally design our instruction to have flexibility so that all students can succeed. The UDL framework guides the design of instructional goals, assessments, methods, and materials that can be customized and adjusted to meet individual student needs. Under the framework, there are guidelines that offer concrete suggestions that can be applied to any discipline or domain to ensure that all learners can access and participate in meaningful, challenging learning opportunities. The framework focuses on engagement, representation, action, and expression. Engagement focuses on the affective networks, helping students to understand the why of learning. The goal here is to stimulate interest and motivation for learning. Representation focuses on recognition networks, helping students to understand the what of learning. The goal here is to present information and content in different ways. Action and expression focuses on strategic networks, helping students to understand the how of learning. The goal here is to develop strategic, goal-directed learners, allowing for multiple ways that students can express what they know. The goal of UDL is for all learners to become expert learners. Oftentimes, a learning environment can include barriers to learning, like the design of the curricular goals, assessments, methods, and materials. But UDL gives you a framework to follow so barriers to learning can be reduced. The main way to do this is to prepare a learning environment where students have what they need to flexibly meet learning goals. Specific tools and technologies are not needed to follow UDL's principles. Instead, students can choose from the tools and resources they have available to them. We just need to make sure that they know how to access those opportunities and that they exist. As you may recall from prior training, UDL is a framework based on three main principles that help us design lessons and assessments. Engagement in UDL encourages teachers to look for multiple ways to motivate students, letting kids make choices and giving them assignments that feel relevant to their lives are some examples of how teachers can sustain student interest. For example, creating opportunities for students to interact with content using sticky notes, playing a game, or building a model. Representation in UDL recommends offering information in more than one format. For example, providing text, audio, video, and hands-on learning gives all kids a chance to access material in whichever way is best suited to their learning strengths. Action and expression in UDL suggests giving kids more than one way to interact with material, to show what they've learned. For example, students might get to choose between taking a pencil and paper test, giving an oral presentation, or doing a group project. As we shift into our next portion for today's session, we want to connect the idea of option through UDL to our teaching and learning practices. When we think about the differences among our learners, we can prepare lessons so that all students have options for accessing the learning in meaningful ways. Options can be critical to helping all students succeed.